Hello, accidental psychic.
Accidental press press record too soon, or is it perfect? Of
I just pressed record. I hope that's okay.
course it is. It's perfect. I just set normally a sound check, but if this sounds great, then I'm happy.
It
So
sounds okay. I'm in a sound booth here in Leeds,
wow, in Leeds.
in the centre of Leeds, right? And I've had this sound booth for about 5 years. But
Sounds
sometimes,
great.
yeah, sometimes I think when I'm in here for too long, I get a bit weird. So sometimes I think I'm just selling it and getting the money and then
Don't be
buying
stealing
it.
no cars then.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So this is the accidental psychic. The reason that I thought I'd do a podcast was because he put a message on Facebook and he said, anyone want to do a podcast? And I heard a lot of his interviews on the Richie Allen show, which is my favourite show. So I kind of feel like I know you a bit already
Great, nice one.
from that.
Really happy to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Because you're kind of a spiritual guy, but you got this kind of lad's voice, and it's a bit more unusual, really. Usually, you used to hearing the spiritual people from California and stuff or something
True,
talking in a
true,
certain type of accent.
true. I don't see myself as like a spiritual person from California, though. I see myself as a Yorkshire lad. I don't think I can ever be anything else but a Yorkshire lad, to be honest.
Right. I assumed that you were from Manchester then. So what part of Yorkshire were you from?
I was born in Huddersfield. The hospital was called Princess Royal. And then I spent most of my childhood in Gledholt, which is next to Greenhead Park. So I spent most of my childhood there. And as I got older, I couldn't wait to leave home. And my first property I rented was in Netherton, but that's Netherton, Huddersfield. And then from there, I just progressed to a place called Home Firth. I had a hairdressing salon in Home Firth, last of the summer wine. You heard of that place?
Yeah, yeah. I've heard of Holmfirth. Yeah, that's a nice area. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a hairdressing salon there for many years, and until I decided not to do hairdressing anymore. So yeah, I've been mainly in the Huddersfield area, mainly.
Right. Okay. Um, like most of these podcasts that I did, because I'm not really like a podcaster, right? The only reason I started to getting into this was because during the 2020 stuff, I wanted to talk to people who agreed with me, so that it became like a theme. I asked everybody what was their experience of 2020. So I thought I guess I might as well ask you that too. Like, can you remember like in April 2020, were you like already ready for that, or was that like
No, no, I knew
a
it
big
was
shock?
coming. A lot of us knew it was coming. We saw it coming because it comes, it's like bell bottoms or flares, or they come back round again. And that's what happens. It comes round every 10 years normally, 8 to 10 years. So we're ready for something coming. It's like every 10 years it happens. It's once you understand the program, everything makes sense, and everybody thinks you're wise. It's not that you're wise, you just know the outcome. As a great guy called David Icke says, know the outcome, you know exactly what's going to happen. So
Mm.
it's easy to see now. But yeah, we saw it coming. And there's not much you can do apart from look after yourself and maybe spread a little bit of what the mainstream calls disinformation. It's called truth.
Yeah.
You spread a bit of truth with the people that are willing to listen and who are out of the matrix, who are out of the program, the brainwash program. And some people listen, some people don't, but that's the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles, right?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, in 2020 April, because I'd researched 9/11 and David Icke and all this stuff in the past, I woke up to it really quickly, and
Brilliant.
I naively thought that I could just use logic to explain to everyone. I was like, all my friends are going to be lucky that they know me,
Yeah.
and I was like, I was like posting on, yeah, I was posting on Facebook all the time and getting into massive arguments like all the time for about maybe 6 months to a year. And then after about a year of that, I mean, I was like, wow, I can't
Yeah.
I can't believe that I know I'm right. And It's
It
just a
doesn't
basic.
matter. It's not about being right though, Tommy, if you realized. It's about there's something about humanity when it makes a decision, it kind of sticks with it. And very few people in this world will go, oh shit, I was wrong. I made a mistake because of schooling. Schooling was purposely created for this particular scenario. And that is, Bajerske, yeah. What's 5 times 5? 35. Wrong, you stupid. And all of a sudden you fear getting things wrong. So when you get to an adult age and you've got that trauma inside you, you don't even realize you've got it. And that's where it comes from. Like, just, hey, I think you might have got this wrong. Well, first of all, this person's already posted it publicly. So now they're going to have, you're humiliating them. It's really a personal thing. It's very, very powerful. The program is incredible. Whoever created it is very smart. We've never been told to say that there is grey. It's only black and white. And this is where the problem lies. This is where the issue lies. So you either believe it or you don't.
Mm.
What
But
do you think?
um, well, I mean, now like it's been 5 years since that all happened, and just the very basic thing that lockdown to me was a crime against humanity, right? That is not accepted by the majority of people. Most people think it was a health measure. They might accept that like the government were incompetent or something, but I don't think it's incompetence. I mean, you don't put people on house arrest out of incompetence. It's like, oh shit, I'll just put someone on house arrest by accident.
Well, it depends if you're the government. Like now, there's just a new paper just being released, and as far as I'm aware, this is what I was told yesterday, that this new paper, which was some kind of oversight committee in the UK, went to look at itself, like you do. You go and look at yourself and what you've done wrong, and you come up with the answer of, yeah, lockdown was actually a very good idea. But the problem what the problem was is we didn't lock you down fast enough. We live in a clown world. We live in insanity. But like this insanity, when you realize what it is, it's not insanity. It's very cleverly crafted. But for me, it's gone past that clever. Now I just see through it all. So it's not really clever anymore. But for the majority, it really is, because they don't, most people judge themselves by their own actions. And you're not dealing with your actions. You're dealing with, on the low on a level of like just us having a chat. It would be a narcissistic person. But on a level of spirituality, we see them as dark souls inside these bodies. They are literally feeders of suffering and pain, and they feed on negative energy. So if there's positive energy in the world, that doesn't serve them. They have to create pain and suffering, and thus you realize who these dark souls truly are, because you normally can spot them by their actions.
Are you saying that like the one people who orchestrated these events, they're possessed by demonic entities? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I wouldn't say the ones who created it have always created pain and suffering. That's their bloodline. It's their jobs, so to speak. And you'll never know who they are. You'll never know their names. But if you could see the memos which come down right down to the level of government, if you could look up that level and find out who were the ones who actually wrote and sent them, then you'd find out who they were. But that would never happen. But my point being is that those that do the master's bidding are normally doing it because they're either compromised or because money is more important, and they fear not having money and not being able to pay the bills. So on a ground level, most people, 99% of people, will just do as they're told because of the program. But the ones who really master this board game that we're on, They know exactly what they're doing, and they are of a bloodline that's around the whole of the globe. That's why it happens everywhere. It's not a bloodline it's the Americans, it's the Russians, or it's a bloodline, and all them bloodlines are spread out around the world everywhere, and they all know exactly what they need to do. They all have their own way of causing chaos, and that's how I see it. So I do know it's basically a battle between light and dark, and these bloodlines are very demonic, very dark, and there is a lot of entity possessions in people these days now. So that's another subject as well. So it's very deep. I'm just like kind of covering
It's a
everything
it's a
quickly.
spiritual war, right?
Massive.
Because I remember in the first month of this happening, I said to somebody that I thought it was an information war because it's literally like this person sees it that way, this person sees it the other way. But
Yeah,
then when I said that, they were like, "Oh, I think it's more of a spiritual war." I guess
yeah.
a bit of both, maybe.
Yeah, I think we all make the mistake that we're all wanting our thoughts or opinions to be the right one, but nobody's right. Maybe everybody has a little piece of the right idea. So many people have different perspectives, but I think in general, if you're a good soul and you can see this as bullshit, we all kind of come together in our own unique ways, and we're all saying the same thing, but we're saying it in different ways. Point being is we are in a spiritual battle between light and dark, and it always has been.
Hmm. And like when it's light and dark,
Mm.
do I have like darkness in me too, and my friends have darkness in them, and is it like fighting our own
No,
battles that
no.
way,
Well,
or?
that's a great question, actually. It would all depend on what you're going through, what you're eating, what you're drinking. So, what you put inside, let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food. So, if you're not putting medicine in you, you might be putting something that causes you to have an attachment. So basically, at the end of the day, you are a body, you are a vehicle, right? That's what you're in at the moment, and your spirit that guides you is either of light or dark. It comes from a world of either light, whereas if somebody falls over, you run over and you help them up, and if they feel okay, you feel okay. If you're a dark soul, you'll run over and feed from that. You'll actually enjoy it. You'll pretend that, oh, you're okay, but you're feeding from it. It feels good. You won't understand it because you're of light spirit. That's why light and dark don't really understand each other. Just like a dark soul who feeds from children, mainly pedophiles, anybody will tell you can't change a pedophile. You can't reform or help or make a pedophile not want to rape children. That's their nature. Their nature is dark spirit, dark energy, feeding from low energy, feeding from pain and suffering. That's what they do. You want to hold a child and hug them and listen to them laugh and joke and play, and you feed from that because you get the joy from the love of a child. They need to hurt the child to then feed from the energy of negativity. So we all have a battery. We all vibrate either light or dark. The world is spending 24/7 a day trying to make us vibrate a dark energy or a negative energy. And that's what dark souls do. They instantly try and change your energy. If you're happy, they want you sad. They want you angry. They want conflict and issue instantly because they can't feed from love. That's why so many people often say who are happy, that person was horrible to me. Like what have I done wrong? That's one of the reasons why you've got to understand this in like maybe 3 or 4 months of learning. I'm just sharing within 20 minutes, and I'm giving you a really like it's a tough one to understand in a few minutes.
Mm, definitely. I mean, the positive of all that 2020 stuff was I got a lot more into, you know, eating more healthily and like drinking distilled water, and
Exactly.
I found out about so much stuff about, just the way that I was probably processing things. So it has been a positive in that way. But,
Definitely.
but you've been doing this for like 20 years prior, right? Is that what you
Well,
said?
I started about 20 years ago on my healing journey, my healing path. And slowly but surely, I introduced certain things into my health. realized what wasn't working, and I went down certain avenues to really find out what would help benefit my body. And at the same time, I was learning what is known as the psychic world, learning how to attune, learning how to feel, learning how to see if I can, if it's true that you can see people's futures or your own, if you can see the past or the present, for instance, and then learn how to feel people's energy. So I used to place my hands about 2 or 3 inches above somebody else's hands, and then I used to try and attune and feel that person's body, what they were, physical, mental, emotional. So yeah, I got it fine-tuned after a few years, a good few years of doing it, like thousands of clients. I finally got it tuned that I could put my hands over yours and tell you if you had like a pain in your left knee or your middle toe on your right hand side. I'd be able to say you've got an issue with your eye, or you've got maybe a problem with your kidney, left kidney, and I fine-tuned it because I ended up feeling the unbalance in the body, and it was quite profound even for a Yorkshire auctioneer. It's like, wow, this is mad.
So how did you start? Like, did you just get into that randomly, or did you learn about it before you started
Yeah,
doing it?
well, they say randomly. Randomly is the word coincidence, and there is no such thing as coincidence if you realize that there's something at play bigger than what you and I believe is just a world of eating, drinking, sleeping, and working. There is something else, whether you want to call it God or source, whatever you want to call it. There is something that cannot be explained, and
Mm.
that's what I was trying to understand and find out afterwards when I was kind of led into certain places. So I would go to a certain place and then I would meet a certain person, and all of those certain people had all the same messages. And it was like, I can't deny what I'm seeing. I can't deny all of these teachers coming into my life trying to tell me about spirituality, trying to tell me about this world and the other worlds and the stuff that I just really wasn't interested in. Then I embraced it and then said, okay, if this is like I used to talk to myself, is if this is what I'm meant to do, then okay. But I resisted it at first. I must admit, I resisted it, but then I kind of accepted it, and I'm so glad I did. So glad I did. Most people reject it. Most people are too busy chasing their tails and miss those very, very small whispers and coincidences. They miss them. They just don't see them. But they happen every day to us. They really do. They happen every day.
Mm. So when you're feeling like people's energy and stuff, is that in any way related to when like when you do breath work and you feel into your own traumas through the feeling or whatever? I've done a bit of
Yeah.
that. Is the healing connected to that, or is that something completely different?
So, like, when you have when you have a thought, where did that thought come from? When you have a pain, where is that pain coming from? How do you know it came from your foot? Oh, because it's down there and you feel it. Like a thought vibrates at a certain frequency. Your body, if it's in balance, vibrates at a certain frequency. If your body's unbalanced, if your heart has an issue, it will vibrate differently from what your heart should be vibrating at. So all I ask for is to show me anything that I need to be seen. And then I've got a funny pain in my back here, right in the middle of the back here. It's just a pain in the back. I don't know why. And I'll tell that to the client and they'll go, I've been having some bad pain right there. How do you know that? And
Right.
now I don't know how I know it, but I just felt it in my own body. So I'm basically becoming a mirror for the client who's come for a reading. And the reason why I did that was very, very natural. But I realized, wow, when I've got a guy like you who probably thinks, yeah, I can't buy into this. I kind of like, but I can't. If I place my hands over yours and I picked up something that nobody knew, only you, then you're going to go, okay, this guy, how he knew that, I don't know, but he's right. I have got this issue, then the reading would be more intense. It would be more digested, because how could he possibly know that? Now, that's opening a doorway to your consciousness. It's like cutting your brain out, saying, shut up, just let me listen, please. Let me feel what's going on. So I used to have like scientists, doctors, accountants, MPs, people who worked in the highest levels of government, who would come to me regularly for this work. And surprise, surprise, those that laugh at you because of your work don't realize that those that they look up to are the very people who come for readings that never tell anybody. Like multimillionaires, gazillionaires, you've got the most incredible people in this world that you're like, that you might look up to. They come to people like us, but they never say anything.
Right. Why don't they say anything?
Because they're going to look stupid. What would you go to a psychic for? What's wrong with you?
Mm.
You know, so this is kind of like the way it is. I used to have guys come to me, right, at one time that it took me a while to figure out what they were doing, but I knew they were up to something, and they were into stocks and shares, and they'd put like 3 names in front of me and they'd write really clever lads, and they'd be saying, you know, could you tell me about these 3 people? Which would you consider for me to, you know, to be a part of, or to, you know, I'm thinking about working with somebody. And like, then I realized, oh, this is all stocks and shares. And I actually
Oh,
said to one guy, this isn't you being part of it. I said, you're doing stocks and shares. Yeah, I am. You're right. I'm like, it's not really the work that I do. And I actually don't appreciate you coming here asking me this kind of work, because I'm here to try and help people, not to try and make you gazillions of money. And that's a big thing on me as well. Now that I know that, you know, for me to think that you're going to put 50 grand down on something just because I said it, that's a lot of burden, and I don't like that.
yeah, that would be a good way for him to make money, though. Just come in with the football teams that ask you which one's going to win. But
One guy
sounds like
made 160,000 euros back in the early 2000s by coming to me, and he spread four different names across the board, and I chose one instantly. That's the one. And he told me, because I told him afterwards when he came back again and he was super happy. I said, this is the same guy. And I said, please don't come back again. And he said, oh, it's okay. I made 160K. I'm like, wow. And I remember coming home telling my wife, saying, she's not going to believe this guy put all his money down and he made 160K on me telling him that this particular whoever it was going to be a good person to work with. A lot of money that people would put down with psychics.
right. But that doesn't make you want to say you use that skill to make money for yourself, no?
That isn't a skill to me. I don't see that as a skill. I actually, I don't like it at all. I just don't like it. My work is about trying to help people overcome sickness, depression, sadness.
Yeah.
I want people to be happy, and I want people to, you know, feel better. That's it. I want people to feel better. That's what I did it for. My mum died when I was 12 and she was 45 of cancer. And I think partly when I started doing this work, I started wanting to do healing because I wanted to give back. And for the first 2 or 3 years, I was inviting people to my little room, giving free healing to anybody who had cancer. You see, that's what gave me joy, to try and help people along their journey when they were going through this traumatic moment.
Mm. Um, wrote a few things down here to talk about.
What do you do, Tommy?
Well,
What's your work?
I'm a postman during the day, and then I'm a musician on like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings.
So you walk like this then?
What's that?
It's a dog.
Yeah, actually, the dogs do bark at me a hell of a lot, but I only got bit once.
Once is enough.
Once was enough, but yeah, only bit. Yeah, the dogs really they defend. Like when you're just going in the gate, they really start barking like they're defending their
That's their
territory.
job. That's their
Yeah,
job. They would do that in the wild. That's a
yeah,
wonderful thing. I mean, if you had a dog, you'd want your dog to defend. She barks, and we're often saying, "Shut up, shut up." No, that's their job. Leave them be. They're doing their job. If they, obviously you don't want them to bite anybody. Jesus, but yeah, I mean that's their nature. That's in their nature. It's
mm,
in their DNA.
yeah. Maybe a part of like a postman wearing red as well. It maybe they see red or something to do with the color.
Well, I used to also do healing on animals for a long time as well, horses, dogs, and all that. And what I remember going into one person's house, and she was telling me that she'd got this dog from a pound that was going to be killed, and she said it was lovely up until anybody with black shoes, if they've got if they've got brown shoes on, if they've got blue shoes on, if they've got white pumps on, no problem. Black shoes, if anybody came up to, she'd basically try and bite them, and it went crazy. And she found out later that when she went back to the pound and said, "Do you know anything about that?" Like, oh yeah, the owner used to kick it all the time. So the owner had black shoes on, and it was and it would react to black shoes.
Oh, right. Yeah, conditioning or whatever.
A bit like us, really.
Yeah. I had a question here about so like in the spiritual community or the freedom community as well. Um, like and
Freedom community.
yeah, it's kind of there's an overlap, isn't there, of all of
Freedom, yeah.
spiritual freedom is kind of they
Mm.
come together a bit, but like
Mm.
and this is something I struggle with is trying to like make a lot of money and market myself and do all these non-spiritual type things because I
Yes.
and it's actually probably the reason I'm still a postman because I couldn't make money online because there was something blocking me. It was like this is not I don't want to do something if it's not like for good intentions, but then sometimes you go too far and you don't do any marketing at all. Do you know what I mean? Is that something
Yeah.
in the
It's
community?
yeah, it's called like, oh, in the spiritual community, it's terrible. I've not really got many people who watch me in the spiritual community per se. I think I've got a unique set of people who watch me, and they're more they're not as suggestible to this idea of spirituality. You should not make money being spiritual because it's a gift, you know. And I just simply say what my first mentor said: I don't charge for my gift; I charge for my time. And everybody's gifted in their own unique way, so that was easy to overcome. That doesn't bother me as it bothers so many people. Integrity is a massive thing that most people don't have, and you can see it now in real time when you just switch on your phone. Everybody's selling something, and 90% of the time, they don't even know what they're selling. They don't even believe in it, but they're just good at selling it, good at talking about something. So there's not much integrity online these days. And I think that's, I remember when I was a young kid and I started working for, you won't remember them, but in Huddersfield, they were called Burton's, and it was a company that sold suits. And I worked for Burton's, but there was an offset company inside there which were selling suits as well, and they were called Centaur. And Centaur suits were the highest worsted, the best quality, and they'd last for 10, 20 years. The cheaper suits that I was selling were £25. These suits were like 200. And my boss used to say, you need to sell Burton suits. But at the end of the week, my boss used to get me into the office and say to me, you're going to get fired. You've only sold 3 suits this week. And apparently, you've sold 30 suits of Centaurs, which you shouldn't be selling their suits. And I was saying, but their suits are better.
Hmm.
I have always been that way. So I won't sell something that's shit. I
Mm,
won't do it because it's like I wouldn't cook you a meal if I wouldn't eat that meal.
mm.
I would not serve you something that fell on the floor and I'd put it back on the plate and give it you. I would literally cook a meal that would taste good, and then I'd be happy to serve it to you. I'd want to serve it to you. I
Right.
would want to get, you know what I'm, do you know what I'm trying to say? That's the same as
Yeah.
what you're saying. You don't want to start going down that path of it's got to feel right. You've got to believe in it. And that's where integrity comes. And it's a beautiful thing to have it. It's very rare, but it's beautiful. And it's called morals. And I stick with my morals. I will only sell what I feel works for me. So it's got to, if somebody says, oh, sell this for me, I'm like, no, I won't. I'm not selling nothing for you. I sell what I know to be what works for me. That's it. I don't have many products, but what I do is what I sell is what I've worked with for 20 years. That's it. So that's where my integrity lies.
Do you have any digital courses or anything like that?
Um, a dear friend of mine, because of the shit show that we went through, everybody was locked up. I wasn't. I went for walks every day. I didn't buy into any. I just went off all over the place. But at that time, everybody was locked up, and it only made sense that people really wanted to come to the academy here and learn pure energy healing. And I said, I can't, because you'll get into trouble. We'll all get into trouble. There's no problem going for a walk, but coming here and doing that, it could be a bad thing for you, and I don't want you to get into trouble. So I met this lovely lady called Layla Sati, who was a film director, and I met her through her coming here and learning pure energy healing, and she was really good. And I'm like, wow, you've really she'd done other modalities, and she loved it. And she said, you know what, Mark, we should make a course. And that's what we did. We went out of this country. We went to Slovenia, and we got some people, and we got film directors. We got cameramen, loads of cameramen, and all that, and sound people, and we created a course. And so we have 2 courses now online to learn pure energy healing and pure energy healing with crystals. So yeah, I have 2 courses, digital courses online, which is fantastic.
Brilliant. I mean, I love that. I love those courses. So maybe I'll check that one out on your website, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's not on my website, but there is a link there. The academy has its own body. It has its own board of directors. So that is the Pure Energy Healing Academy. So if you go online and go Pure Energy Healing Academy, you'll find everything there. So yeah, we've got thousands of members, practitioners, working all over the world to this day right now. And there's hundreds of people taking the course right at this minute now.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's
That's so
great.
exciting.
It is because it really helps you in so many ways, because you've got 4 years, 4 days with 20 years of my experiences that I share with everybody, the good and the bad. So it's a beautiful course with so much filled in. So there's so much to learn, but it's all video. It's not, because I don't write. I'm dyslexic. I don't write. So I wanted it to be so that if I went to look at it and I went to do it, it would be easy for me. So it's kind of like for dummies. So you watch the videos, and it's all basically video after video. You watch 1 hour video, and then you watch another one, and then you learn how to heal yourself, heal others, learn all about everything that I use. So it's great. It's really brilliant.
Brilliant.
I'll send you. You don't need to pay for one. I'll give you one for free.
Oh,
So
right. Okay. That's
yeah,
even better.
I'll speak to the guys and the girls, and I'll get you something over so you can enjoy it. My only thing I would say is, if you can do it over 4 days, that would be amazing. If not, then at the weekend. So that would be 2, 1 weekend and then another weekend. If you can fit them all together in 4 days, that's the best way to do the course, because you're so in it. It's fantastic. It's really good, honestly.
Okay, I'll message you about that then. The
My
last
pleasure.
podcast that I did actually was this lady who she sold me one of these EMF stickers that she
Mm.
said you put that on your distilled water or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it
I
changes
use
the
I
energy.
use shungite. I use shungite. I have shungite everywhere. Shungite. I have shungite everywhere. Shungite's fantastic for phone holder. Shungite everywhere. Shungite, 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 because it's a disruptor. Works really well. It's a natural disruptor, and scientifically it has been proven, and it does work. It's fantastic. That's from Russia.
So my understanding is very limited, but what I'm hearing is that it's like, say I've got my Mac Mini over here and I've got my
Mhm.
mobile phone here. The battery in them is emanating some
Yeah,
stuff, right?
energy. Yeah,
And
radiation. It's called
right, okay, and then
frequency.
so then what is it that's in these things like the stickers? What is it that is
The stickers are
counteracting
slightly,
them?
I think the stickers are slightly different. They're blockers, they're whole blockers. So if you put the sticker on, you'll, this is, I interviewed somebody not so long ago, and he wouldn't tell me exactly because it's a trade secret. So they don't really tell people. But if you've got your meter, your EMF meter, it basically blocks it out completely. So there's a difference in like it absorbs it somehow.
Hmm.
So that there's tons of videos out there online. I saw one yesterday of a guy who's just started his own company with these little stickers. I don't know. I don't know even if it's real or not, but I know shungite is fantastic. Shungite is natural. It's a natural, for me, crystal. It's a healing property, and it seems to be fantastic when you drink. When you put it in water, it cleanses the water. It's just overall, it's a really good protective cleansing and healing. I have shungite at home where I have this machine and it runs through the water, which is sea salt, and then it's got sand and it's got shungite, and it comes through and it's so much cleaner and drinkable. Whereas, you have to be careful with Spanish water from a well because sometimes they carry bacteria as well. So, yeah, shungite is good. You
Okay.
just do some research on it, and there's tons of research on shungite. Tons. There's a lot of papers that will tell you that it works tremendously, and it does. I've got another crystal that works really well as well, and funnily enough, it's called Silicon Valley. Another word for it is terahertz. Terahertz, and that isn't a crystal. It's basically whatever the metals they use for a certain mixture, when the scum comes to the top, it's gathered up, and that then turns into Silicon Valley, and that is a disruptor too. If you put it close to this and there, it disrupts the energy. So that really works well as well. So it's very interesting.
Um, so there's a thing that begins with a V that you can't really say on YouTube. Uh,
Yeah.
um, do you know much about that? And do you think that that's connected to any of this disruptive? I mean, what do you think was in the V in a
I
nutshell?
made a video years ago and I said, that what I felt was happening was there was a vial being given to all the companies in the world, and they said basically, look, we this vial is going to go into people's arms. So whatever you want to stick in there, do it now for whatever your program is. And that's how it felt to me. It felt like it wasn't just one company. It felt like it was all of the CEOs of these big companies, all of the dark. They're all dark to me, and they all shoved whatever they want in. But right now, I guess if you can't see what's happened after 4 years, if you can't see people falling down, if you can't see all the myocarditis, if you can't see all the issues with tinnitus, migraines constant, and on and on and on. People can't walk properly. People can't move their limbs properly, and so on and on. Then, if you can't see that, then I, good luck to you. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, the thing is, I can see it because I I follow these websites and I see all these sports stars collapsing, and I put it all together in my head. But I can see why someone who doesn't believe it because they just see people dying, and they've probably just like recently the Stone Roses bassist died,
Mm.
and like he was 61. And the thing is, I don't know if it's related to the V at all. It's probably
No,
might just, so people just see it
you,
like that. We just
you
don't know.
won't, you won't, you won't see it related. Nobody will see it really related, and nobody will ever tell you it's related because they can't. Because once they tell you it's related, then everybody knows, and then all of a sudden there's going to be hell on people, going crazy. So it will always be denied. And yes, people die at 61. People die at 20 years old. So it's so easy to say, don't be silly. People die. Do you know what? I've given up even trying to bother talking about it because
Yeah.
it's so boring now, and I don't care. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I don't care if you know or you don't know anymore.
Mm.
We tried our best at the beginning before it started. We were pleading with everybody, saying, please wait, just wait. Even if you want it, just wait a little bit and see what happens. Because I just think it's 95% just went for it because they were petrified because they were told they were all going to die.
Mm. But would now say someone's taken it, could you recommend any sort of thing? Can they do something to counteract it going forward? Maybe.
There's loads of stuff online to counteract it. You're talking about the spike protein, aren't you? I think more
I
than
actually don't
anything.
know what's in it for. I mean, I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
anything
Well,
about. I mean, I've heard the spike protein, but I don't know anything about what it does or anything.
no, neither am I because I'm not a scientist. All I know is that it affects the frequency around your body tremendously. It really messes with you completely in an energetic way. I can see it, and I saw it at the beginning. I made videos after videos telling people this. I've never seen people's energy fields so erratic, going crazy. And I could tell. And, I used to bring people around with me. That person's had it. That person hasn't. That person's had it. And they were going, okay, I believe you now. Like, because I could see when people have had it. And I mainly could feel. And the reason how I could feel is I would just sit next to somebody and get up and walk off straight away. And it would be a natural thing. I wouldn't even need to look. I'd just sit down and quickly get up. I'd feel it and I'd walk straight off and sit somewhere else. So if you have had it, I'm extremely sorry that you have, but the way forward, really, if you were asking me what to do, I had I had some I channeled what's called channeling means that I close my eyes and I might turn a few cards over and see if there's anything that will help. And years ago, when everybody was doing it, I wanted to help them straight away. And I channeled something that I thought was like horse hair. And then somebody said, no, no, could it be horse tail? Because I think I said horse head and horse's head. And then he said, no, could it be horse's tail? I went, yeah, that's what I saw, the head, and I saw all the hair. So I looked into it, and horsetail is a tea, horsetail. It's like a herb. And what's inside it was interesting because it has natural caffeine, and only now scientists are talking about natural caffeine helping people. They were actually saying it. That's why they wanted people not to smoke and not to take the patches because they were actually helping. So I channeled the same thing, which was natural caffeine. So yeah, horsetail is one for sure. Definitely helps.
Right. Okay. Um, the other thing I wrote down was, have you? I'm sure you've heard of DMT and ayahuasca, right?
Yeah, I
Now,
have.
I've
Yeah.
I've never done either of those drugs, right? And
Mm.
probably because I'm
They're not.
scared.
They're not. The DMT maybe is a drug. I don't know if it's synthesized, but ayahuasca I think is natural. It's not a drug. It's like a herb, right? It's like a plant.
I thought DMT was the active ingredient of in ayahuasca.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I know that ayahuasca on its own doesn't work. It has to have the other stuff to go in. It's another plant that goes in with it. So it's ayahuasca, which is one part of it, but then there's another plant that goes inside it too, which they mix up as a shaman. So yeah, that's the hallucinogenic part of ayahuasca. I don't really know. I don't do it, so I'm very much a naturopath. I like to do things. I like to be natural. I don't like to force or push anything. I like to see things in my own time. And that's why I meditate every day.
Mm. I think I heard you say on the Richie Allen show that you didn't like drugs.
No, I've done
Yeah.
drugs when I was younger for sure, but I like to be myself. I like to be in my own energy, and the best drug for me is happiness. So I work on my body every day to feel better, and then when you feel happy, there's nothing more beautiful. I think when we do drugs is because we're not balanced, we're not feeling well, or we're emotionally pissed off with life, and we're upset with either relationships or not relationships or one thing or another. And I think that's why a lot of people turn to drugs just to have a break from this this pitiful existence of life where we think we're free, but we're not. We're only free as far as the system allows you to be.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm not big into it, and I also would recommend people because down the road here, just down there, is a place called Marbella, and there's the Costa del Sol hospital. I used to go there to try and help people who had gone on a ayahuasca trip and came back, and they were in hospital, and they were in a bad place, and some were in there for a few days, some were in there for, I know one lady who was in there for 3 weeks. I actually asked the head nurse that I used to read for, I asked her, would she come on my podcast, and she refused because I wanted to talk about ayahuasca and the negative effects of how it can cause suffering to certain people if they're not careful. And she wouldn't, because she said she could probably get fired, and you can't talk about these things. But we should be able to talk about them, because for every 100 people who might have gone on an ayahuasca trip, there's going to be a few, definitely a few, that and can cause a lot of suffering. And I know some people haven't got over, after 3 years of doing it, of still in a bad place. So you have to be careful with stuff
Mm.
like that.
Yeah. You're opening yourself up to, well, it's like opening a portal to all kinds of different possible entities or something like
Not
that.
not yeah, all of those things, but there's so much more, because if you're not strong enough, if you're not ready for it, if the shaman isn't a shaman, just pretending to be a shaman, if it's somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing, and they just they just feed it you, it's not good, because something can crack in your head. It's like, some people can smoke marijuana all their life and be absolutely fine. And some people can smoke it for a few years, and then something just cracks in their head. And all of a sudden they turn paranoid, and then the whole life just falls apart, and they can't literally do anything. And I know this personally in the family. So,
Mm.
a mixture of that and alcohol, and, you can't say that it's this particular thing, but you can certainly say that there's certain people in this world that have a threshold, just a point where if they go over, it's irreversible. You can't go back again. You've broken something that can't be fixed again, and that's coming from a healer. You
Mm.
can't fix it. It's done. That they've gone. That whatever's happened has. It's like that fuse. I'm sorry, but the fuse is burnt. It's gone. You can't repair that. You need a new one.
Mm.
And that's why I'm very careful. I don't promote any kind of stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do it someday, but
Yeah,
I feel like I want to get I want to get to a point where I'm in such a good place that I could do
exactly.
it. But I'm in
100%.
I'm in a pretty good place, but I still like sometimes drink a bit and I smoke a bit of weed, and it
Mhm.
annoys me because I'm like, this should be easy. I just should not do it because I know it's the right thing to do. And then
But the
I
reason why
find
you're
that,
doing it is
yeah.
because you're filling a void. You're filling
Mm.
something that can't be filled. And that's why you keep going back to it, because you think that that's the answer, filling the void. You need to look, like when you go on a spiritual path and start looking at the man in the mirror and start facing who you are and what them voids are, what that hole is, then that hole gets fixed naturally. And then you like, I don't want alcohol. I don't need smoke. I don't need anything, because I, it's filled. I'm happy. I'm joyful. I don't need anything. I'm happy. I don't, you smoke that. Well, I don't need to. I'm as happy with you smoking. I'm as happy. Like you're smoking, you're happy. I'm happy. I don't need, what do I want to fulfill? I don't need to fulfill happiness. It's already there.
Yeah.
It's not like I have good days every day, but I'm just saying that I don't crave for anything.
I hear what you're saying. I guess it's like, even though I'm pretty happy, I've got to say these days I'm pretty happy all the time. But like when this podcast started, I felt like this nervous feeling coming up, right?
Yeah.
And it's similar to when I say go out socializing. It's like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to even do this whole hour. This is never gonna. And like this like these feelings like come up of nerves, and then now I feel okay because we got into it and everything. But
Yeah.
that's similar to when I'm going out sober. I get that same thing. It's like you feel this like this energy like come up of like this is I can't stand to be here for one more minute longer. I've got to leave or have a drink. It's that,
Yeah.
and it's like
But
you got to ride the wave.
that's very interesting because that doesn't sound like nerves to me. It sounds like something maybe a little bit deeper.
Hmm.
And you need to find out what that is. I mean, I don't think it's nerves. Nerves, like these are all boxes. These are all labels, nerves. But what triggers? What's the root cause of it? Why did it happen? Why am I feeling that? Why am I feeling like I am doing? It could be it could be as simple as getting used to something because it's new, or not feeling protected or feeling safe in an environment where you've never been before, or maybe you've been beat up once, or maybe you've seen somebody being beat up, or maybe you've watched TV and you're re-encountering something that ain't gonna happen, or there's so many reasons why, and it could even be energy as well. I used to get nervous in nightclubs, and then I was fine, and then I used to get this nervous feeling, this awful feeling, and then I'd leave, and my first wife would say, "Why do we always have to go?" And then the following day, we'd read the Examiner, and there were a massive big fight. Just as we left, there was a huge fight, and there was glasses thrown and stuff. So sometimes it's your intuition that kicks in that tries to help you as well. So there's so many factors to a situation.
You had the intuition there was going to be a fight in the nightclub and you left.
Yeah, I used to do that. Used to happen all the time. I even thought make a good bouncer once. I even thought I'd make a good what's it called? Back in the days, I wanted to be a private store detective to catch thieves because I knew when somebody was stealing. I just knew it. I just knew who was stealing, and I knew who was going to kick off and have a fight. So I used to go up to bouncers. Used to go, back in Huddersfield, certain clubs. I'd say there's going to be a fight over there, and they'd laugh, right, and then they'd stop laughing, and then they'd say, "Let us know if there's anything going to happen," because I could just feel it. I just pick it up.
You know, I did see a video on YouTube once, and it was dogs predicting accidents, and it's all these like clips on people's phones of like a dog barking at
I
someone,
don't.
and
I
then
don't know.
and then like something happens, like
I
the
don't
shed
know. It
falls
might,
over.
that might be. I don't believe anything anymore on the black screen. I think most of it's bullshit. I think most of it's AI. So I don't believe in that. But do I believe that dogs have got intuitive energy? Absolutely. Read some of the old books dated back in the 1970s. There was a book that I read about dogs being absolutely intuitive. And there was one dog that I read about that his master used to jump from ship to ship. So he worked on ships, the old ships. And basically, he was waiting for his dog, which would normally come onto the ship. He always knew when he was setting off, no matter which ship in the harbour he jumped from, because he'd worked from ship to ship. This one time the dog didn't come, and he was like, "Oh shit." And anyway, he went off, and this ship was going to, I believe, China. So it was a long voyage. And when he got to China, maybe a few days later, the dog ended up in the same port. The dog had gone from ship to ship to figure out which which boat it needed to go to find his owner. And out of all the ships in the harbour, jumped onto the right ship. And then he found he found his dog where in China with him. So like these things do happen. These are all like legitimate stories, though. These are stories like incredible. People are going to die. The dog knows when they're going to die. They'll jump up and go. They'll go crazy on the bed, and then they'll lie back down, and then the person will pass. That's the dog seeing the spirit or knowing the spirit leaving. Dogs sometimes go crazy in houses, just bark at walls. That's because they're seeing spirit in that house. So they're very intuitive to spirit, and so on and so on. But yeah, dogs are incredible,
Mm. Yeah, I love dogs. Um,
says the postmaster, says the
I, yeah,
postman.
I do like dogs. Um, what was else I was going to ask you? Yeah, so the other thing is, in about a year, I'm going to leave the UK. I don't know where, but I was like, I just want to move somewhere, and I thought about Amsterdam, and I thought about Spain and
Well,
Greece.
yeah,
Obviously,
well, there's free cakes. You'll be getting a lot of free cakes and smoke there, so that makes sense.
that was a big plus of that. But
Yeah.
I thought about Spain too, and I was
Portugal is a good place.
yeah. I mean, what I mean is like in these next 10 years, as this tyranny
Yeah,
presumably gets worse,
it's
hopefully it doesn't.
everywhere.
But as it gets worse and there's some other big event, do you think it matters where you are, or do you think
Yeah,
it
of
should
course it does.
so?
Stay away from any smart city and be out in nature, be out in the countryside where they're not gonna attack you there. Be self-sufficient. That I have a farm with 300 mango trees. We have all solar panel. We have our own water supply, and we grow our own fruit and vegetables. And at this moment, I'm happy there, but I'm realizing that Europe is being sprayed upon terribly right now. And the after effects, people are feeling it really badly. So, I was in Bali a few weeks ago, and I was getting up every day feeling incredible. And I was smiling. I got my joy back again, and like no aches or pains. Body was brilliant and strong. I was running around and yeah, really happy, smiling, and no pain in the head, no fog, no. I just felt like a young kid again. And then I come back here, and within 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm feeling shit again. And yeah, you look up and you realize why.
So you're saying where you are now in Spain, Costa
Mm.
del Sol, is it?
Oh, yeah.
You're saying that there's some kind of emerge
No,
radiation
no, it's not energy or radiation. It's called chemtrail spraying. They're
chemtrails. Oh, right.
spraying, they're spraying over us, and really bad. And all of that is brontium, barium, and aluminium, and more. And it's falling all onto the ground, and it's falling onto a skin, and it's messing with us really badly.
So do you ever consider moving from even where you are now?
I am moving.
You are.
I'm going to move. Yeah, for sure I am. Definitely. I'm not staying here. Not with this brutal spraying. It's really bad. So yeah, definitely try to move somewhere where it's not as bad, but it's global tyranny. It's happening everywhere. Bali is okay at the moment. That's just a small island, but it's not good. I wish we could stop it, but I don't think we can. I don't think we can stop what's going on up there, what they're doing.
Well, I mean, if I guess Amsterdam would be a smart city. I mean, it's pretty
Oh
much
yeah,
everywhere city
yeah.
is going to be like that, right?
Yeah, if you want a city, you've not got much choice, and if they shut everything off, then you're buggered, aren't you? Because you can't buy anything.
So aren't these dark elite people, are they not breathing in the same air that we are in the smart
Yeah,
cities?
it's a great question, and it depends how you look at it. Spiritually speaking, you know, the monsters cause chaos. Monsters don't don't do things of joy, and they don't create. They destroy. That's all they do. and they don't care whether they destroy. They blow up this place, they blow up that place, they destroy you. They don't give a shit because it's their nature, it's their energy, it's their frequency. They don't think about being sick or ill. And for some reason, I don't know why. Why is it that they always live the longest? I've always questioned why is it that the bad people who do the worst things live so long? Why is that? Why is it all the good people, the kind and caring people die young? It's a great question. I've asked that many times, and I've got loads of answers for it, but I don't think I have the conclusive answer. But I just think that if you are a bad soul, bad energy is what feeds you. So if it's bad energy, that's what you feed from. We feed from good energy. We feed from Mother Earth, its frequency, its vibration. We feed from its fruits, its vegetables, its flowers, its herbs. We feed from that because it's good energy. They don't feed from good energy. They can eat crap. They can eat poisoned food. It doesn't matter to them. For some reason, they feed from it, and that's what they do. So, you know,
Mm.
it's a difficult one. I don't have all the answers, but I just know what I feel, and I don't like fully focus on, well, I could say, well, probably because they're not anywhere near where they're being sprayed. They probably, they spray elsewhere. That could be one thing.
Mm.
They might have the antidote to whatever they're spraying. They might have the antidote. They might be taking what many of us are taking as well. So they might have the answers to healing the body before they do it. There's loads of reasons you could come up with for
Mm.
anything. But at the end of the day, I just know one thing, that there's a lot of spraying going on, and that ain't good stuff that's coming out of it. And right now there are tons and tons of people who are legitimate scientists who are saying that we captured that spray and we found that there was indeed all of the poisons that are in there, and all of these heavy metals cause Alzheimer's, cause all of these things. So it's not like, you always find in this field of work, when you are ahead of your of humanity, you are deemed an idiot, you're deemed a nutter, you're deemed crazy, just like Tesla and all the others that said something that they all said, this guy's a loony bin. This is what always happens. But I also have a feeling that happens because when you are close to doing good, and there's a ripple effect that could be a very positive ripple effect, then the darkness, the dark energy, the dark spirits attack, and they send people to attack you, to stop you, and to cause as much pain and suffering in your life, or even to kill you. And I know it sounds dramatic, it sounds like a conspiracy theorist, but there's too many things that have happened this way where people have been, suicided, or whatever you want to call it. They shot themselves twice in the head and so on. That like this guy had come up with a cure for the sea, you know.
Mm.
Like Dr. Seabear, yeah, they killed him. No, he didn't. He died in where was it? In a jail. Yeah, but they didn't fucking feed him, did they? They didn't give him the food because he didn't eat shit. So yeah, of course they killed him, and so on and so on and so on. There's so many. You can look at the list of health specialists, health doctors, naturopaths. Just look at the list for the past. Just look at the list for the past 8 years of how many killed themselves.
Mm.
Oh yeah, of course they killed themselves. Yeah, they're a naturopath. Of course they're going to kill themselves. They're
Uh,
all.
The
There's
guy who
tons.
the guy who invented the PCR test, I think he died just before the pandemic.
Yeah, and but that didn't really make any difference because he even came out and said that this doesn't work. It wasn't for that.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Not just
Mad
him,
world.
loads of people.
Mm. This has been really interesting conversation, mate. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock my time now, so I guess it's 5 o'clock your time.
It is, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and I'll direct as many people as I can. Once it's up, I'll direct everybody here to get your podcast up to. Let's get you up to 1,000 subs. How many subscribers
The
have you
thing is,
got?
right, I've got my Tommy Coyle YouTube, but then I've got a Tommy Coyle podcast live one, which I've put these on, and the reason for that is that I almost had my other channel pulled completely.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So is that a good idea to have two channels to kind of litigate?
Doesn't really make any difference because they'll get both your channels. They'll put them both down. Just be careful on the channels, that's all.